Welcome to Haven of Prayer, a sacred space where hearts are lifted, faith is renewed, and divine hope is restored. If you're seeking spiritual guidance, a breakthrough, or simply a moment of peace in the presence of the Lord, you're in the right place. Today's video holds something truly special, a powerful prayer to Saint Anthony that has been whispered through generations by those who have witnessed incredible blessings unfold in their lives. This is not just a set of words. It's a spiritual key that can open doors you thought were forever closed. Saint Anthony, known as the Wonder Worker, has long been a heavenly intercessor for the lost, the weary, and those in need of divine intervention. When we call upon him with faith, miracles begin to move. In today's prayer, we'll seek not just material blessings, but spiritual renewal, clarity, and divine favor in every area of life. Stay with me until the end of this video, because each word of this prayer carries deep spiritual weight. And as we pray together, I believe you will begin to feel a shift in the atmosphere around you. Your heart will know you are not alone and help is already on the way. So take a deep breath, let go of your worries, and open your heart as we call on Saint Anthony together. A moment of divine connection awaits you.
Lord, I come before you now, not out of routine, but from a place deep within me that longs to be heard. My heart has been carrying so much lately, and I realize it's time to slow down, breathe, and simply be in your presence. I don't want to rush this moment. I'm not here with distractions. I'm here with honesty, ready to let go of everything I've been holding inside. I found a quiet corner, a space where I can breathe again, a place where I can remember that you are near, even when life feels heavy. Here, in this silence, I allow myself to release the weight I've been dragging. I place it all at your feet, God. And as I do, I also call on Saint Anthony, your faithful servant, asking him to join me in prayer, because I believe his voice still echoes in heaven with strength and compassion. You know how hard it can be, Lord, to find peace in a world full of noise. But right now, I ask you to quiet my thoughts and settle my soul. I need to feel you close. I need to know that I'm not alone. Let these words rise from my heart and reach you, not as empty phrases, but as a real cry for help, for hope, for something new to begin in me. This prayer isn't a habit. It's a declaration of trust. I believe you can bring healing, restoration, and answers where everything seems uncertain. I come to you not because I deserve anything, but because I've seen what you can do when someone believes. So here I am, expecting, not demanding, but hoping, believing that something beautiful can begin today. As I let these thoughts flow, I surrender to whatever you want to do. I'm not trying to control the outcome. I'm learning to trust. That's why I ask Saint Anthony to take my hand and guide me closer to you. I know he walked a life of humility and love, always ready to serve, always believing even in the impossible. Let his faith inspire mine. I've been trying to live the way you've called me to, Lord, letting go of what drags me down, leaving behind the fears that rob me of peace. I know you don't want me living in anxiety or stuck in circles of doubt. So, in this moment, I close my eyes and rest in you. I want to live freely, with a heart ready for whatever you've prepared for me next. Saint Anthony, I reach out to you now, not out of habit, but because I believe in your kindness. You knew what it meant to give everything for others, to love with no limits. Your life reminds me that real strength is found in compassion. I don't ask for favors. I ask for your intercession, knowing that when you speak to God, He listens. You were given a gift, not for your own glory, but so you could be a light for others. You helped restore what was lost, brought clarity to the confused, and hope to those who felt forgotten. That's why I come to you, confident that your prayers still carry weight in the heavens. I want to learn from your example, to walk in faith even when I can't see what's ahead. Teach me to let go of control and hold on to trust. Let your presence walk beside me as I continue this prayer. And may your life remind me that with God, nothing is ever truly lost. Take my struggles, Saint Anthony, and place them gently in God's hands. Remind me that the miracles of heaven aren't far from those who believe with a humble heart. You were trusted with special grace, gifts that brought light where there was darkness, and opened doors no one else could see. Help me believe that such grace is still possible today. Every day, thousands call your name, and not because you're a legend, but because you still answer. People turn to you when they've reached their limits, when something's missing, when no solution seems to work. They come with hope, because your heart has never stopped listening. And today, I am one of them. It amazes me to think about the lives that have shifted through your intercession, not just because lost things were found, but because people recovered their faith. That's the kind of miracle I long for, a renewal in my spirit, a spark of courage, a reason to keep believing when nothing makes sense. I come with no demands, only a deep desire to witness what you, Lord, can still do. And even if I don't know how or when, I rest in the truth that I'm not alone in this journey. You've placed Saint Anthony beside me as a friend in the unseen, and his prayers bring comfort where words fail. There's something I've carried in silence for too long, a longing that's hard to speak out loud. But today, without shame or fear, I bring it to you, trusting that you see it, and that Saint Anthony will lift it up to you with the tenderness that marked his life on earth. They say when he spoke, miracles followed, not because of his voice, but because of the faith behind it. He never turned away from pain. He opened his arms to the brokenhearted. That's why I'm not afraid to ask him to stand with me, to pray for me, and to believe with me. I don't need to understand every step. I just need to trust that you, Lord, are working through it all. And I trust that Saint Anthony will carry my need before you, not because I've earned it, but because faith, even the size of a mustard seed, can move heaven. There are days when all a man needs is a little hope, just a glimpse of light in a dark moment. And today feels like one of those days. So I reach for you, and I reach for Saint Anthony, believing that even now, something is beginning to shift. Lord, from deep within my soul, I lift this need to you, not as a burden, but as something sacred that I now place into your care. I can't carry it on my own anymore. I bring it before you with all the honesty I can gather, asking that you treat it as your own and lay it before your throne, where every tear becomes a seed of hope. As I wait, I choose to keep believing, not because everything makes sense, but because I know you can bring beauty even from seasons that feel uncertain and heavy. There are moments when I feel lost in a storm of questions. Answers don't always come, and peace feels far away. That's why today I surrender this prayer to you, not because I've given up, but because I believe you know what to do with it. I trust you'll hold it with care, wrapping it in the kind of hope that only you can give. And in that trust, I find the strength to breathe again. Saint Anthony, you who knew the weight of human struggle, I know you understand what it means to carry a request that seems impossible. You were close to Jesus, not just in words, but in spirit. And because of that, I believe your voice still reaches places mine cannot. So I ask, gently but earnestly, that you whisper my plea to the one who once rested in your arms, the child who held both power and tenderness in his gaze. I wouldn't bring this to you if I didn't believe in your kindness. You've never turned away a soul who came with an open heart, and I hold on to that truth today. There's something in you, something that brings peace just by being near it, and that's the kind of peace I'm chasing right now. Not the kind the world gives, but the kind that quiets the heart. Maybe what I need can only happen through a miracle. And while I know miracles aren't handed out like wishes, I also know your compassion has never faded. You gave everything with love, with patience, with a heart fully surrendered. That's what makes me believe you're still listening, still acting with the same mercy that marked every moment of your life. I promise not to forget this time of prayer. Whether or not I receive what I've asked for, I'll be grateful. Grateful just to know that someone like you stands in the gap for me. I hope that this prayer reaches heaven, and that something within me begins to shift quietly, like the early signs of spring after a long winter. There's an image I can't forget, the child Jesus resting peacefully in your arms. It wasn't just a vision, but a divine embrace, a moment where heaven touched earth through you. That picture gives me courage. If you were trusted with something so sacred, then surely I can trust you with this fragile hope of mine. As I reflect on your life, I'm moved by how you poured yourself into others without ever seeking recognition. You healed, you taught, you loved, and that love has outlived your time on earth. It's the reason I turn to you now, not to demand, but to ask gently for help with something my heart can't handle alone. I'm not looking for instant answers. What I truly want is for this cry of mine to reach the right place. Some problems can't be fixed by human effort. They need divine intervention. And I know you've seen how heaven works, how faith can part seas when strength fails. That's why I come to you, Saint Anthony, trusting that you know how to bring light into what feels like a closed room. What I'm asking for might seem small in the grand scheme of things, but to me, it matters deeply. I lift it up, not with pride, but with humility. I believe you won't turn away, that you'll listen the way you always have, with gentleness, with understanding, with that same compassion that made people seek you out in life and still turn to you now. So here it is, my prayer, my hope, offered not as a demand, but as a sign of faith. The world around me may look uncertain, but I know you see what's hidden beneath the surface. You recognize the kind of sorrow that softens the heart, and you know how to turn it into something sacred. If that same tenderness that flowed when Christ embraced you could reach my life, I believe something beautiful could begin here too. I think of that holy moment, the joy in your soul when the divine child looked up at you with such love. That wasn't a dream. It was real. It was heaven meeting earth in the quiet of your presence. That same closeness, that holy bond, gave strength to your prayers, made your voice carry weight in the heavenly courts. That's why I turn to you now. I come to you not out of entitlement, but because I know you understand what it means to carry hidden battles. You've walked with those who couldn't find the words, who bore silent pain. And that's me today, bringing this situation not with perfect speech, but with honest faith, hoping you'll stretch your hand toward my life and make room for grace. Sometimes I don't even know how to explain what's going on inside. Pain doesn't always fit into sentences, but you've never needed eloquence, just sincerity. You understand the ache behind the silence, the longing that doesn't shout but burns deep within. And so I ask, with all the humility I can gather, that you look into my heart, take this request, and carry it to the one who turns broken things into blessings. I've come to realize that strength doesn't always win battles. Faith does. That's why I keep praying. Even when I don't see the outcome, I hold on to the hope that your intercession can open doors I didn't know existed, that it can shift what seems stuck and awaken joy where sorrow once lived. Stay close to me, Saint Anthony. Walk with me through this difficult stretch. And as I continue lifting this prayer, I do so with steady trust, believing you're already moving in places I can't see, making way for something gentle, something healing, something filled with light. And even now, in the quiet of this moment, I feel the need to keep going, to keep speaking with the hope that heaven is still listening. Sometimes, Lord, I just need to sit with you. No mask, no bravado, just my soul exposed, longing to be seen. Let me speak honestly, without fear, about the weight I carry and the hope that flickers quietly inside. You, who understand human pain so deeply, you see the weariness behind every smile, the storm beneath the silence. If in that sacred moment you catch a glimpse of my struggle, I trust you'll begin weaving a response, even if it arrives not as a change around me, but as peace within. What I ask of you isn't born from impatience or whim. It comes from a place of quiet desperation and fragile faith. I've carried this need longer than I ever intended, and though I try to appear strong, you know how tired I am. If you could lift this plea and carry it to where my arms can't reach, I believe something in my life would begin to shift, even if only in the unseen places. Right now, I'm not looking for thunder from the sky or miracles that draw crowds. Just a whisper would be enough. A soft sign, a small touch of your presence to calm the chaos inside me. Saint Anthony, if even a fragment of your gentleness brushes against my life, I know I'll feel it, not because the world will notice, but because my heart will. There's a comfort in saying your name in prayer, not to impress anyone, but because there's something about it that calms me, that reminds me I'm not alone in this wilderness. You've become, for many, a silent shelter in the storm, and today, I need that kind of refuge, a place where I'm not questioned, just heard. I pray for those who hesitate to believe, for the ones whose faith has grown thin. Let them come to know that your mercy isn't limited, that your compassion stretches far enough to reach even those whose belief trembles under the weight of life. I hope that what I say in quiet here might echo in the hearts of others who've stood where I stand now. You've watched me stumble through days I barely survived. You've seen the cracks in the armor I pretend to wear. But your gaze has never been one of judgment. It's always been filled with mercy. That alone gives me the strength to keep speaking to you, even when the world around me feels like it's unraveling. So I place this unresolved part of me in your hands, not because I've given up, but because I know you hold things differently. You hold them with love, with wisdom, with eternity in mind. Teach me to walk through this with hope, to draw from your life the courage to keep going, even when answers delay their arrival. Some lives shine quietly, guiding others just by existing. Yours is one of those, Saint Anthony, not because of the stories that surround you, but because of the heart you live them with. You didn't need applause, only the chance to love someone well. That's what draws me to you now. That same humility, that same willingness to care for someone like me. I'm not asking because I think I deserve something. I ask because I don't know where else to turn. This burden isn't small to me. It's real, it's deep, and it's heavy. And yet, I trust that if I place it before you like a seed into good soil, something beautiful can grow, even if I don't yet see the roots. I've often wondered if it's too much to ask for a miracle. But then I remember how freely you gave, how open your hands always were to those who couldn't carry their burdens alone. That's why I come again, not with entitlement, but with trust, because you've never needed perfect people to help. Only honest hearts willing to hope, even if my request takes time, even if it never shows itself in the way I expect. I believe you've already lifted it beyond what I can comprehend. You hear more than words. You understand the ache behind them. That's why I remain here, with a quiet certainty that my prayer hasn't been lost in the wind. There's comfort in knowing you're still near, not as a memory, but as a living presence in the faith of those who won't stop believing. I count myself among them. I choose to believe that even now, something unseen is unfolding, something shaped by grace, held together by love, and born out of this humble conversation between a heart in need and a saint who listens. You were born with the gift of compassion, an ability to read between the lines of pain and respond with kindness. That spirit hasn't faded. It lives in every soul that calls your name and hopes, quietly, that someone is listening. And in this moment, I believe you are. I don't need perfect words. I just want this prayer to reach the right place, to be wrapped in that same gentleness with which you always intercede. Your closeness to the Christ child wasn't chance. It was the fruit of a life that loved purely, that saw the divine in the ordinary. That kind of love still speaks, still acts, still reaches. Maybe some give up. Maybe others walk away when the waiting feels endless. But I remain here, asking, not because I'm strong, but because you are. And I trust that you can hold what's too much for me, that you can lift this prayer, just as you lifted so many others before mine. I don't want to pass through this moment unchanged. I want to learn to pray with more honesty, to trust without always needing signs, to give thanks even before the blessing arrives. And for that, I already honor you, with these words and with a heart that's still choosing to believe. If somewhere in heaven, your whisper still finds its way to the child you held so dearly, may mine travel with it. Let it be a quiet offering, not loud but filled with meaning, a bridge between this aching heart and the grace that waits on the other side. And as I remain here, still speaking, still hoping, I find that sometimes the deepest prayers rise not from loud declarations, but from the quiet resolve to keep going, to keep believing, even when the path is hidden beneath the fog. As I whisper these sacred words, I feel like I'm not speaking just for myself, but for countless souls who, like me, have known the weight of weakness and found shelter in prayer. It's more than a habit. It's a way of realigning my heart with heaven's rhythm, letting go of resistance, and creating room for peace to gently settle over every part of my life. Even the most familiar lines feel different today. Somehow, they still carry the power to stir something deep inside me. I may have said them before, but now I speak them with fresh devotion, as if each word holds the key to changing what I thought was unchangeable. I don't rush. I let each phrase unfold like a soft breeze over still waters. There's a quiet holiness in this act, a sacred link between my longing and the divine. As I repeat them, I invite calm into the chaos, letting my soul breathe again. The anxiety fades, and something new starts to glow from within. These prayers aren't just tradition. They're sacred bridges that carry me toward the unseen. They remind me that faith isn't a theory, it's a presence. And as I speak each word, I imagine planting seeds of trust in the secret garden of my soul, trusting that something beautiful will grow in time. What my heart longs for isn't always grand. Often, it's just what's essential. That daily bread that sustains not only the body but the spirit too. I'm not here asking for more than I need. I'm here to recognize the small blessings, the ones that keep me going even when the days feel heavy. And forgiveness, that part is hard. Letting go of the hurt, freeing someone from the emotional debt they left behind. It's a real battle, but I know I need to do it. I ask for the strength to release what weighs me down, and also for mercy over my own mistakes. There are more than I can count. Temptation isn't foreign to me. Some days, I lose focus. What's right feels far, and the easy way seems so near. That's why I need you to steady me, to draw me back toward what's good and true. I'm not trying to be perfect. I just want the courage to stand back up when I fall and learn something each time. When darkness creeps in, and it does, I don't want to face it alone. I ask for clarity to know what's real and what's false, and the inner strength to do what's right, even when it's hard. Some battles aren't won by force, but by stillness and a steady soul. And as I keep praying, I feel the quiet comfort of Mary surrounding me. That gentle grace of a mother who knows what it means to walk with faith in a world that doesn't always make sense. Her presence softens my fears and reminds me that I'm never abandoned. There's something powerful about her story. Chosen, humble, brave. She wasn't seeking praise, only willing to believe. In her, I see the kind of faith I want. Strong but tender, grounded but open to the mystery. That faith that says, yes, even when the road ahead is unclear. As I ask for her intercession, I'm not pretending to have it all together. I'm simply saying, I need help. There are days when I can't even pray without help. And knowing she's near is enough to keep me going. There's something healing about not having to carry everything alone. I keep moving through the words, and they lift me higher. I'm reminded of the one who leads, the one who saves, and the one who changes everything from the inside out. This isn't just repetition. It's a reaching out, a reminder that I'm held by something unshakable. When everything else shifts, these prayers are like anchors. They help me breathe again. They restore perspective. They give me just enough strength to take the next step. Not by my own doing, but by something greater than me that never wavers. And in this quiet moment, I don't try to fix anything. I don't need to figure it all out. I simply stop and feel. I let stillness wrap around me like a soft blanket. I lean into that gentle silence that doesn't need words to bring peace. I begin with the body, this vessel that carries so much. I loosen the tension that's been building, one breath at a time. As I exhale, I sense the burdens lifting, the strain easing. Every part of me invites in the calm I so often forget to seek. The thoughts keep coming, as they always do. Some stir discomfort, others just pass. I'm learning not to chase them or fight them, just to watch them come and go, to be kind to my own mind. Sometimes, healing begins when I stop trying to control everything and simply let myself feel. It's not about doing right now. It's about being present, being still, being connected to something deeper than the noise of the world. In this sacred pause, I see beauty in the simplicity. a place where soul and body meet in quiet harmony. And the more I rest in this moment, the more I understand. I'm not escaping the world. I'm preparing to return to it stronger, with clearer eyes, with a heart that's steadier and a spirit more at peace. There's a kind of freedom that shows up when I stop clinging to every passing thought. Not everything that enters my mind needs my attention. Some memories drift through just to test my stillness, and I've come to believe it's okay to let them float away, like clouds moving across the sky without needing to be held. Lord, something shifts in me the moment I breathe with intention. The air feels different, almost sacred. It doesn't just fill my lungs. It touches something deeper, like a gentle wind brushing through places in my soul that had been closed for too long. Each breath feels like it's washing over my worries, clearing out corners of my heart I didn't even know were burdened. Even the smallest sounds begin to echo with new meaning. A faint hum, a distant vibration, the quiet rhythm of life around me. They're not just background noise anymore. They remind me that I'm here, right now. I don't need to figure it all out. I just need to be present, to notice what I'd usually ignore, to receive this moment as a quiet gift. I start to sense the atmosphere not just as something around me, but something that speaks. Sometimes it's a scent I can't quite name, soft but familiar, pulling me gently into a memory that soothes me. Other times, it's the feel of the air on my skin. Cool, still, almost like it's carrying a message that words could never deliver. I don't try to explain it. I just let it happen. Without rushing, I let myself settle into this state of simply being, not clinging to what has passed, not reaching for what hasn't come. Just this, a sacred pause. And in that stillness, I start to remember. Sometimes, the answers I chase only show up when I stop chasing. When I just breathe and trust that I don't have to earn peace. It's already reaching for me. There's something gentle moving through the ordinary. A quiet energy that I wouldn't notice unless I slowed down. It's not always a sign or a miracle. It can be something as simple as an unexpected calm. A moment where the world feels less heavy. I think that's you, Lord, revealing yourself in the silence, not with thunder, but with stillness that speaks. I look around and see that I'm not alone. Every detail, every flicker of light, every shift in the breeze, feels like it carries your presence. Not loud or dramatic, but steady, quiet, real. Almost like you're whispering into my soul, letting me know that even in the middle of my routine, you are near. Not watching from a distance, but right here, as close as breath. And deep inside, I begin to notice something I hadn't before. A sacred space within me that isn't crowded by fear or noise. It's calm, strong in its stillness. I don't have the words for what I feel there, but I know it's not empty. It holds something firm and kind, something that reminds me I'm not walking through this life on my own. I've stopped trying to understand everything. Sometimes, faith is less about having answers and more about letting my heart soften. Not because I've given up, but because I've learned to surrender. Believing in you doesn't mean I see the whole path. It just means I take a step anyway, trusting you'll hold me if I slip. And so I stay in this space a little longer. I don't need to rush out of it. I don't need to prove anything or earn this feeling. I just rest in the quiet assurance that I'm being led, even when I don't know where I'm going. That I'm not forgotten, even when the world feels silent. That I'm seen, known, and held, even when I can't see what's ahead.
Before you go, take this moment with you. If something in these words stirred your heart, don't let it stay here. Carry it into your day, into your silence, into your prayer. What you just experienced wasn't just reflection. It was a sacred pause, a reminder that even in the most ordinary moments, God is gently calling us back to Him. At Haven of Prayer, we believe there's power in slowing down, in breathing with purpose, and in learning to recognize God's presence not only in miracles, but in the quiet corners of our lives. If this video spoke to your soul, I encourage you to share it with a friend who might be struggling, with family who needs a word of hope, or with someone who simply needs to be reminded that they are not alone. You never know whose life might be touched by a simple message of peace, faith, and trust. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and join us on this journey of spiritual renewal. Let's continue growing together in grace, one prayer at a time. This is Haven of Prayer, a place to breathe, believe, and begin again.